Welcome everyone to the 284th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's like August 10th, and we'll call it 6 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
As you can hear, we
midnight.
got maybe for you, unfortunately.
True. Soon it will be time change, and then for a week it will be nice.
Well, as you can hear, we have a small horde of people. We got Allie Claw.
Hello.
We got a CPC.
That's me.
We got a Pix.
Ha.
And we got a Fluff.
Hello. And we also have a zombie.
And LD is back. LD is back. Hooray.
Nice.
Hooray!
Yay. I mean, I was at the last stream, but I disappeared after that into Narnia.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to fight chipmunks.
Okay.
Just
Did you win?
a little fight, little scuffle.
You know what? They were evil. They ran on top of my hammock while I was sleeping.
Oh,
Okay.
that is mean.
Yeah, that's pretty dodgy.
Pretty fun though. I mean, they aren't good at eating. They would be hard trapping too. They're smarter than the rest of us. All right. Well, as
Should
always,
just set up a little picnic table. They're just not happy with your offerings.
I think that was the problem. Someone tried to feed them peanuts, and then they just decided to move right on in.
And then they went nuts.
Yeah. So as always, if you got any art, fire it at our face. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And please, do yourself a favor. Try and critique someone positively. Do some criticism, but not like negative. We're looking for constructive criticism. Because you know what? It's very useful for everyone involved. You get to learn, they get to learn. You both just benefited from that little interaction. And boy, does it help us. Whoa, there's so much work to do, and we don't get paid for this. We'd love to see other people pitching in. So please, pitch in. Please.
Please.
Don't make me hunt you down.
Come on, friendship is magic.
Or else. Please, or else.
It will probably also be better critique because you won't have two people awake at midnight. Well, one person awake at midnight, one awake at 11 p.m., and one awake at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I don't know why Pix gets up for this. He's a monster.
Because I wanna hang out with my friends, and you're my friends.
Yay.
Aww.
I know people who won't get up for 6 a.m. for work, and Pix is just like, I'm not being paid. Sounds good.
Being paid in friendship bucks.
Okay.
All right, Tofu.
My Aggie is blank. Is that how it looks for everyone?
Nope.
No.
I got a full set of pictures here.
Cool.
Try opening up in a different browser. Throw it in incognito mode and open it up.
I just wanted to know if it was how it's supposed to look like. I just want to double check.
No, it's definitely supposed to have things on there. So, Tofu, you were asking on this one. Oh, scrolling up. You're working through some things at the moment. The main things here are perspective, distance, build-up, and composition.
Mm.
And tutorials for clouds. Sounds about right? Or are we missing anything?
Yeah, that's about it. To be honest,
Cool.
yeah.
Is this the night sky?
Yeah, I guess it's now.
Okay,
It was meant to be like general, but I guess nice sky really shows in the background. The background is a bit soft because that was just like grayscale and see if everything's working before I go a bit more into the pen detail, So that was the that's why a little opacity of that, because that was like the previous version. That you can see I fixed the perspective a little bit of a new line because I actually drew the grids, and turns out some of the stuff was wrong. So yeah.
I would say, if you want to do something in grayscale, do yourself a favor and pick three colors to start with to really block out the composition you want for your image and the types of colors you want. Because right now it's all the same grayscale with detail put in it. There's no generals picked out. It's just the specifics that are shaded, and that'll really help also make the all the stuff, the anticipation, the depth, the perspective, that'll be sold when you have greater separation in your what's it called? Not hue saturation and
Values.
thank you, values. The
Mm-hmm.
values sell it.
You
I
have
see. I
a
see.
mid-tone, shadow tone, highlight. What happened? Is
Hmm.
it why? Oh, LD, your layer went up.
I got it.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
My poor layer.
Oh, but yeah,
Alright, it's down.
keep it simple when you're at this kind of stage in terms of shading. It's just
Mhm.
especially in the in the clouds, you've got all these like nice little specific details and all that sort of stuff. But when you're specifically blocking things out like this, it's
Mm-hmm.
best to keep it, just more simple, just because that's all the detail you're sort of going to get anyway at this point.
I
I
know in
see.
thumbnails, usually you can like block something out with 3 colors and it's messier. This is like almost a slightly more cleaned up thumbnail. You still only want to keep things very general because we're not getting to the specifics till we get to the end. The ends is when the specifics happen. So once you get like the generals in, you get a feel for the piece right away. And even adding these big blocks of colors, already more pop and diversity and cohesion is happening in this image.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see.
Separating the elements, sort of, because everything was the same gray before.
Mm. Yeah, I think you guys have a point there. I mean, that's why it looks like the moon, right? It looks like a night scene because the gradients, it's not that contrasty. I
I mean, I
think.
honestly thought it was a day scene, but I couldn't really tell because nothing was
Yeah.
pushed in one way or another, so it could be
Mm.
interpreted any way.
I see. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, just big blocks of color, just boosh kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of perspective, sort of stuff. Let me make my thing really small. I think it's workable, but
Let's see.
this thing of rocks on the left, is that something from you, or is that something that we've drawn on top?
The rock's on the left. Let me see this.
I think that's someone else drew the white you're talking about.
Just these rocks.
Oh,
Like the rocks in
Okay.
general.
yeah, the rocks
Yeah.
in general. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Coco has.
Okay.
The rocks. Yeah, that's a problem that I'm still working through, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
So
was having. Oh.
this looks good. More of this would probably help because the perspective is alright, but it's not too interesting having these like blocks all the way along, especially kind of like down here. I could see it being good to have like some more of these like rock-like formations popping in, or something in sort of the extreme foreground
Mm-hmm.
that
I see. Yeah.
we can like
Yeah. I was actually
change
thinking
dark.
about that, to be honest, because I was thinking like if I'm gonna put shapes there and be distracting from the main image, which is obviously to the right, it's not to the left, right? But
Mm,
I feel like if it's just pure clouds to the left, that looks just too much cloud. Like the whole left corner is cloud. I'd rather just cut that out, trim that out or something.
mm,
That's something that I'm still working through that, thinking about that. So I was talking to OJ for a bit,
mm,
regarding like how to set up the scene a bit better, and he gave me some good ideas. Like you can make a big foreground to cover that whole side, so that way
mm,
you can both have the rocks there, and it's not distracting from the overall image. It's like it's part of it. It's like a foreground element, and you got midground, and you got further backgrounds to the balloon. So that's something interesting that I need to think about more next time when I work in this kind of landscape piece.
mm.
Sure.
Like you see in OJ stuff, especially like how he does this like fun, strange little like uh leafy shapes around the sides and all that kind of weird stuff
Hmm.
now and then, especially. And it's kind of a same sort of thing here. Is it might look like it's adding detail in a corner and pulling all that sort of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you know yeah, but by marking that section off in that kind of way, it's also saying, this area isn't that important, and it is somewhat pulling it towards the area of focus anyway. So it's always going to be a bit of a push and pull between it, but especially if you haven't, if an area is kind of looking fairly blank, then just having the same kind of background continue on there can sometimes draw attention to it, just because for some reason it looks a little bit more blank and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Well, CPC, it's all good. It's all good. Love it, CPC. Oh, okay. Oh, good.
I think was I muted?
I
Yes.
think you were.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I didn't talk all over Pixie. Okay, sorry.
So I thought you were apologizing for drawing these rocks, and then I was like, the rocks are good. What are you talking about?
No, the whole time I was drawing the rocks, I was talking over you, but I wasn't because I was muted.
Oh, bloody hell. All good.
I was saying that the foreground shouldn't distract too much because it's usually like low detail and it has like it's a bit blurry and dark, so there isn't a lot of contrast there. So it's mostly just like when I don't do a foreground, I usually even like darken the edges because then your eye isn't attracted there. It's just dark, nothing.
I see.
But darkening the edges is more like the cheaty way I do it when I don't feel like figuring out a foreground.
I see. So yeah, I think there's still a lot of stuff to work on with this kind of painting. So there's a lot of elements in them. I need to balance it out. That's why I kind of like I had a previous one that I was working on, but I was trying to work it out of my mind, but in the end it's not working because the thing is like people work to do that. Like they have certain experience and they have certain knowledge, they'll make it work. For me, at the moment, I think I just need more planning before I go in, so I can just try all the things. I try all the approaches or the method, like you guys just mentioned, like try all different kind of things, like do more thumbnails. This way, I can get more familiar with it before I can go in, like just full blind. That's why I wanted to do this one like grayscale first, and and then just do another detail line splash over, just to make sure all the elements are there. Like I know what these are, and this will stay that way, so I don't get too out of line and get something wrong and then make the whole scene doesn't work like what happened before.
It's
So
definitely good planning step. It's
Mhm.
it's very good. What you've done here is super good. We're pretty much just giving you like little extra tips on how to make this step even better.
Yeah.
yeah, I see.
And while more
No.
thumbnails are good, I think the things that you've been making recently, like the compositions are really good. It's just needing to tweak more, needing to pay attention about the general before the specific. I think because I know myself included and a lot of artists get caught up in specific first, and that's where you kind of lose the flow of the image and all the stuff that we keep bringing up when talking with you. It's because you don't get the grand steps that you step back and look and it's like, okay, I can see this with like distance from my screen and I can tell everything that's happening because the general steps in place. But when you just focus on the specific, it all just gets muddled so quickly and you lose that contrast.
I see, yeah.
I think something that is really cool about this sort of image is how much you can kind of make the thing pop by including very, very slight amounts of color. It's I think because I've linked you to sort of Marco Bucci stuff before, and he talks about how you don't need to add much and you can do all that sort of stuff. And this is like a perfect example because a lot of this image could probably be in like a fairly gray tone and all that sort of stuff, especially like the night sky and all that sort of thing. And so tiny bit of color on that blimp, tiny bit on lunar, and some general browns and stuff for the rocks or whatever. And I think it could be really interesting, kind of
Especially
subtle.
because you could get that like misty sea clouds kind of growing around it. Keep that
Yeah,
grayness.
that's
be
kind of
fun.
like what I was thinking. Is like, okay, maybe build a distance on the ocean or on the plane over there. That's the thing that I'm thinking about. But I guess I can just overbrush a bit of a sky color and see to build up that transition into the feather background.
Yeah,
Maybe that
fun
would
to mess
work.
about.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that this was colored before, but I added another layer just to make this whole scene grayscale, so I can check the value and see everything's working.
Oh yeah.
This was a bit colored before, but I kind of just got rid of it in the end. Yeah.
Man, I wish I liked this post earlier on Twitter because it fits with the situation so well. But basically, like, don't be afraid to reference your color palette from a photo or nature itself. Like, you can take someone's art and be like, oh, I really like this, and just flat out steal the colors from it. You don't need to like invent the
I see, I
colors every
see.
time. And eventually you will gain your own eye for that. But don't be afraid if there's like an ambient shot or like some sort of like aesthetic picture that's like, these colors are perfect for my art. Take that color palette from the picture, and you can apply that to your own.
I see. Yeah, I think that actually answers one of the previous problem I had with the other piece that I was working on there. I was trying to make my own colors and it wasn't quite working because my knowledge is not there. Sometimes it's just what it is. If your knowledge is not there, something will happen. Can't just make stuff happen by luck. So yeah, I think this one I think I'm gonna take this a lot more seriously. This one I will actually see some of the working palettes because I've been doing some sky studies recently
Mhm.
of masterpieces. So I'm just like thinking how can I incorporate that into this thing. I think that will be helping me out a lot while making those decisions. Yeah, make everything works a bit better.
I
Mhm.
think you're doing good stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
I'm loving it.
Thank you, Fixie. Yeah,
Nice.
still working through them. Just need to do more. I think just need to do more in the end. It's not. I can struggle. I can plan all the time. I can think about this kind of stuff, but in the end, you need to put your pen down and just do it, and then do more of it. In the end,
You,
yeah,
you you're
that's
doing
what
you're
it is.
doing a great amount, and yes, keep in mind what we've said and keep on going and keep on rocking. It'll be good.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll try to see if I can
Take
finish
care.
this one. Thank you.
Ooh, you got this.
You got this.
All right.
We got this together.
Let's go to our next picture.
Top left.
Yeah, buddy.
Brilliant. I love it.
All right. So this horse is brought to you by Famous Wishbone 7098. Most recent pony art. That is all they say.
I know these ponies. They are from the Fallout Equestria. I
See,
like it.
I recognize the one at the back as Velvet Remedy sort of
Mm.
design from that one, but the one at the front, not quite sure.
Same.
OC possibly?
Maybe.
Either way, it's apparently an OC and a friend's OC.
There we go.
Ah, I was thinking this one was derpy because of the bubbles. But they don't look like derpy. So why was I thinking that? You know what I mean? I last night I had a lot of lime soft drink and I was on a bit of a sugar rush. And I think this morning I might also be on a bit of a sugar rush.
Yeah, you're like 0.2% more energetic than your usual sleepy self.
Brilliant. I love it. I take it. Who's doing the background stuff?
I'm doing things. Maybe it's me.
That's cool. I like it.
So, a thing I think I would look at on this one is the entire plane they're standing on is very, very dark in contrast to them. Nothing is matching their lighting that's existing here. And by that, I don't mean like the shadows being dropped or anything. I mean the intensity of lighting. Everything in the background is insanely dark and muted in comparison. The darker horses in the background, kind of understandable for how dark they sit, but if we look at their shadows versus the front shadows, they appear to be quite different values. Easiest way to check these is digitally turn it grayscale. When you crack it to grayscale, it'll be very clear what your values are. Because you'll see between white and black, and everything in between is what the values you're looking for. And you can use that as a way to compare what the apparent lighting is on all the subjects and all the background in that. Very powerful tool for doing it. There's a reason why a lot of people work from grayscale and then put color as an overlay on top of it, because it allows them to make sure that all of those values are a lot more even.
It looks, for the character in front, it looks like there's almost like a bit of a spotlight shining at them, like from towards top right from the camera. And I think for an image like this, where I really like your background in terms of the cool, mysterious nature, all that kind of stuff. A really interesting lighting choice for this would probably be to have, for example, this character doing their magic, this other character in the background doing their slightly more red magic. So I assume the magic color is the same color as the eyes, and then to have the light from the magic sort of like spill out onto all the different parts of them that you want lit up and all that kind of stuff, rather than having this light here and this light here and all that sort of stuff. It could make a really interesting sort of poignant lighting setup kind of thing. It's always fun to mess with lighting stuff. Yeah, I'm tracking this sort of lighting stuff on top, and that already feels a bit more dynamic and everything. But that's just me.
I like it.
Heck yeah.
I do. These two, the way you draw your horse is very nice, especially the way you've inset the eyes, so they're a lot more muted than standard MLP. Like you're not scared to bend them around the side of a head. Normally, I would say you need a second ear. For the tan one, I would say, nah, it's hidden behind the mane, but the dark navy blue one, I would stick that second ear on there. Easy thing to forget. I do have a question about the way they're stepping, though. The dark blue one has both the same side of legs up.
Ooh.
What that causes is the horse to do a tip over.
Yep.
Very easy to also get wrong, or I could just be seeing this. No, that does appear to be a leg there. So yeah, that's the back. So I would just do a quick swapperoo on those legs there. A chainsaw, nice sharp machete, lop it off, bit of duct tape, switch it around, be fine.
Or tell them to put this leg on the ground and then raise this leg up if you don't want to cut off their legs. That's fine too. It's really interesting with like quadrupeds and horses and all that sort of stuff. So if you're looking at them from above, you have like body, head, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Always think in diagonals, because they're gonna need either these two hooves on the ground or these two hooves on the ground to stay up. And so the cool thing about that is you can keep these two on the ground, which is sort of this one here and this one here. Keep those two on the ground, and then these two can like do whatever. This one can like be all raised up in this, and this hoof can like be doing all sorts of like interesting kicks backwards, or that can be coming forwards as well, or you can do anything you want. But I whenever I'm like thinking about posing and stuff, I'm always thinking in diagonals because it's sort of what makes sense for horses. In general, good job on the bodies and stuff. I'm liking it. If you wanted to, you could possibly... this is a bit thin, but that could honestly fit in with the setting as well. I tend to, whenever I like draw my sort of rumps, I tend to cut them off a fair bit there, but that's just me and how I like to do the bodies and stuff. And I'd probably bring the hock and all that up a little bit to sort of this area, but that's just me, to be honest. That's fine. If this works as what you're going for, that's fine. I really like the tails as well. Good job. Those are really interesting Kieran-like stuff.
Yeah, they're like traditional unicorn tails.
A lot of good stuff here. I like it. Feel free to check us more art in future. It's always fun to see this sort of stuff and give feedback and see sort of how you develop from here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, CBC. Do you want to go through some of the background stuff you were doing with?
Oh, I just want to make the sky and the floor a little bit more distinct because they kind of just look the same. Like they bled into each other a bit. I can see that you're trying to just make a circle around the characters to make just the characters important, I think.
Hmm.
But then the outside didn't have enough contrast between the sky, especially with all the clouds. It kind of bled into each other. That's just what I was seeing. You could maybe try to make I went with making the floor more defined, but you could also go with making the clouds more defined, and then you have like a thick fog, for example. You can make the clouds kind of coming down or something.
Oh, I like that.
But as it was, I felt like it was just kind of just airbrushed in, and it didn't have any sort of definition.
Hmm.
Do something like this. Like really define where each layer of cloud is. But that's what I was doing, is just making the floor a bit more distinct from the sky, and then I used the shade of the floor to do the plants in the background, and that way you have more of that muted, like they aren't green, luxurious plants, they're just kind of coming out of the floor and they're the same shade as the floor without actually having to use brown, with keeping the green, without making them look like they're good plants, good healthy plants, because I don't think they're supposed to be that.
Extreme foregroundy stuff, like, or just foregroundy stuff in general, like these are always pretty fun for pushing the characters forwards.
And they're clouds, so they're super reflective, so you can even put some of the characters' magic on them if you decide to go with something like fog.
Really interesting picture in terms of the ways you can go with it and everything.
Hmm. Well, I guess we could move on to the
Yeah,
the
next one.
picture.
Yeah, Ellie's got this. All right, so now our next horse. This is by wait, they told me how to properly pronounce their name. One moment. it is pronounced Lin.
Oh,
We did it.
I was gonna say Leo Nene.
So they say, signing the post online. I post under unique name. So my name is Lin. So Lee YNN. Oh,
Okay.
Leo Nene. Yeah, that's right. Leo Nene or Lin. Either
I
way.
like it.
Did they give any comments?
I'm just looking at what they have. They have nothing except for saying no, absolutely nothing on this one actually. So this is G1 half note, and then they've done a picture of G2 copper glow. I assume this is in the G1 style, which I'm not wonderfully familiar with, but if I recall, Pixie is right. You watched all the little horses when you're younger.
100%. That's all I watched. I never watched anything else.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's. I've been an OG since birth. Horse gang, all that. Really cool pose. I really like this sort of head turned around pose with this coming over. It's a pose that not many people would think to try in terms of this like neck coming back this kind of way. So it looks really good. I like it. You can
Yeah, I like
see
that part. I'm struggling. I was sort of doing a
someone.
little bit of an alternate pose, but I don't have quite the same sort of body shape. So I'm more like G4. I'm more used to that,
Mhm.
which doesn't allow as much for this like long neck. But which I do really like this. It's cool. I don't. Yeah, I think the part that I'm sort of struggling with is why it's sort of the leg being stretched out like this. I suppose that's the part that just doesn't feel as cohesive to me.
Mm.
Then the head is like stretched quite far down. Personally, I would make the head a bit bigger, but that's just me. I'm not as super familiar with the older styles. Maybe that's okay. Um, but some of us were saying at the beginning that because of how this leg looks, especially the way it's sort of like tense like this, where it's sort of like thinner at this part and then thicker in the middle and then thinner again. Um, we like some of us at like first glance thought the head was facing this direction to the left. That like this was sort of the front of the face, and they have the eye here. And I thought it was just that. CPC said she actually thought this was a horn at first glance, which I can like a super thick horn, which I can see. I sort of thought the same, I think, but
Mm.
eventually we realized that the head is actually facing like this, which is okay. It's just I think the leg is what's throwing me off about that. Maybe making the head bigger would help it fit more cohesively and be a bit more like obvious what's happening. So at the moment they've got like a pretty big body for the head in terms of ratio, but having the leg not just be sort of like stretched out randomly like this, or at least having a bit more of a sort of a natural pose would help. I think so. If you think about where the shoulders are like this, like putting this one here opposite this one. Um, you sort of think about how the legs are posed, what it is that they're doing, like why they're in this pose, what you're trying to accomplish with it, and how like the legs would be sort of positioned, and then think about the sort of like skeletal structure, like what angle, what is it that you're actually trying to accomplish with the leg, and then if you do
Mm.
want it sort of stretching out, you can do that also. But it's it's just a case of reworking it to be more visually understandable, I suppose.
Yeah, like with this pose, I'm sort of inclined to pick them up with a claw going over here, and then just to smush them in, as in like you see with this one how like the back is forming a little bit of like an arch kind of a thing that continues almost all the way around. It's like they're crunched up in a little ball. I kind of want to do the same sort of thing for here, especially because you've got this neck really playing into that. So I'd kind of like, instead of having this kick out so much, just like, try to continue that along. You can raise this leg up a little bit. You can probably, do some stuff like that, I guess. This leg is good. I love it. I think I was just adding a little bit more defined kind of shape. I tend to like having when I'm doing like the hooves, to have this kind of like defined bottom bit, and then to like go back into the rest of the hoof sort of thing. And just so that isn't taken as a part of that hoof, that's fine. They can live up there. Ghost hoof. Yeah, and with this arm, you can probably do the same. You can either have this arm sort of, follow its way around and kind of come in back here, or break the boundary and stick out from there or something like that. Whatever you want to do. You can see actually those two different options here and here. It's really fun.
Now that I'm not muted anymore, because I keep trying to talk while I'm muted.
Oh my gosh.
I think what's bothering me is that so this shoulder is here and the other one would be here, and if the leg is tense, it would be coming more like out here. But instead it's coming down here, and that's why I didn't connect that this was the leg right away. So it would go something like this, and it would come a little bit above, which is more what I did up here. I had some G1 up, and I do have the little curve on the back, so I kept the little curve when I did my... The back does curve in, but I think it would be good to just reduce it a bit so it flows better. Like, that makes it completely curved because that's a lot more G4, I think, but just make it a little bit less extreme. Yeah, that was what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah. That's cool. I like it. Yeah, when you're working at the shoulder positions, it's important to remember that all this is like neck. So things can't spawn off of that except for the head.
All right. Shall
I
we
love
move
this
on to our
picture.
next lovely picture?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Want those boots?
I know,
That-
right?
They're pretty cool boots, as said in the name.
I wonder if you can get them steel-toed, though, so I could use them as work boots.
Mm.
I hope so now. I truly do.
All right, so this picture is by Cherry P13. Cherry Pie. I like it. This is a finished piece I did like a week ago. Any critiques?
Heck yeah. You did a picture. Awesome job.
I like the expressions. They're really fun.
Cozy Gillo always has like this face. Just want to punch them.
It doesn't mean you did bad art. It just means the character is,
Oh yeah, wonderful wonderful picture. Wonderfully punchable too. You just
I just wanted to make that clear. It's all good. No punching artists.
Yeah, no, definitely not punching the artist, but punting the character. Just getting a field goal with them. Anywho,
Why are you so violent towards the character suddenly?
because they've earned it.
They did.
They did.
Like their chance at redemption was promptly flushed down the toilet.
I believe that they could still be redeemed at some point in the future, in a Gen 11, which only was in.
I thought you were talking about Scoots.
Oh
like,
no, Scoots is wonderful.
What?
Scoots doesn't need redemption.
You see the characters as if
Why does she need to be redempted? She's allowed not to be
That's
able
what
to
I
fly.
because you said characters. I thought you meant plural.
Oh no.
At first, I thought you meant there was something about the way they drew it that made you want to do it, but
Nope. Scoots is a wonderful character and deserves all the hugs.
She is wonderful.
He does have small wings in the show too, so I do like the comparison of wing size between them two. but I think you've just made them a little chunk. If we assume this is when Cozy Glow rolled in, Cozy Glow was shorter than the CMC, so I would take her and boop her down a bit, especially because they both appear to be looking at an object that is between them, but more towards the viewer. Sorry, their faces are turned to an object that is between them, more towards the viewer, but then the eyes are turned back.
I thought they were looking at each other.
Well, their eyeballs are looking at each other, but their heads are both turned the same.
Oh, I see.
To
Yes.
be an object that is towards the viewer.
3/4.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would take Cozy Glow, just shrink her down a bit, take a pin, pop her, let her deflate a bit, piece of duct tape, done. And I would take Scoot's arm and just move that up a scoot, same as Cozy Glow. Just a little bit chunkier because in proportion wise, their head is about their body length. So if we take their head and move it over to their body, in this case it'd be, we got this as a head, so we can compare. Here, let me do a different color. One head unit would be about one body unit. So that would be the front and end, plus maybe a little bit for the extra piece of candy they had that week.
Heck yeah.
Still, those curls on her hair are wonderfully done.
They're good curls.
Mm-hmm.
So, on Scootaloo, I made this ear pop forward a little bit, just because I wanted to. I also made the ear really big, because I like drawing really big ears. With these eyes, because it's like a 3/4 view and the head is sort of tilting that way, I kind of pushed this eye to be a little bit more on the facing towards the front. And with this back eye, I did a really distorted sort of thing with it. Let me actually just get that out there. So you can see sort of what I'm going for. Something roughly like that kind of thing. When you're doing this sort of expression in particular, the sort of one eye, doing the eyebrow on this raised eye is really important. So I just added that on there. You can have the eyebrow sort of, cutting in on there. And yeah, that's most of the... I mess with the muzzle because I like messing with muzzles. Especially when you're looking at it from this sort of angle, it can be really useful to sort of have the mouth sort of go all the way to the edge, and then to you see the line of the muzzle here, and then for this bottom part it bumps in a little bit, just to create a more interesting sort of muzzle shape right around here. Nothing too special with the back. I just sort of had it sort of come up a little bit, something like that. Yeah. Good horses. Well drawn. I like it. I'm looking forward to seeing more horses in the future.
Alrighty then. Shall we move to our next lovely horse? I will take silence as a yes. Actually, it's our last lovely horse.
Yeah, let's blow my nose.
I appreciate
is.
that being muted for that. Because I did
Oh
say
my
no
God.
trombones in the background.
It's an amazing horse. What
It's a
happened?
lovely horse. This is
Which one of you bastards submitted this? Stupid.
Suborgan.
Suborgan. Okay.
And it's buck to the 80s. I guess it's a moment when contrasting colors work. Yeah, it does. This is wonderful.
Loving it.
Where do we go from here?
It's pretty good horse.
Cry. all of this edge lighting-y stuff with the pink purple light is really awesome. I love it. I feel like some of it, a little bit of it, could probably be sort of shifted to more of this kind of stuff. Just a little bit, because the edge lighting and all that sort of stuff is really awesome and cool, and I love it. But it's a tiny little bit overwhelming. So just in a couple of like select areas that aren't directly getting hit by this light. So
I would actually like move it away from here, from this area. Oops, that's the wrong color.
I know. Mm,
I would hide it up here and add some more down here, because the feathers will be right up against that light,
mm.
and they're thin, so they'll let some light through. I imagine the background as being the source of light.
Cool thing you can do with Luna's hair is add stars.
Sparkles.
Exactly. Also, I love the little. I'm not sure if that's intentional. Those three colors, but I like it. It's good.
Is that an actual picture of the sky? Because the light like has a curl to it.
Mm. It definitely looks like it. It's got like that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
the long exposure
Mm.
slide sort of deal.
The slide, I like it.
Yeah.
It's 80s theme. I like it.
I
You
wonder.
can probably with oh, you go.
Well, no, go ahead. I'm just silly
Okay.
thoughts.
You can probably mess about a little bit with these things. Mess about a little bit more with sort of the hue shifty stuff. So you've got this cool yellowy color here, and then as it goes over here, you can shift it towards the green or towards the orange or any of that sort of stuff. Mess about with the hue shifty stuff a little bit more, because it's really cool. Yeah, I like it. There you go.
So, my thought after seeing like the glow sticks on her, I wonder if Pegasi would do things with their wings as far as adding like jewelry and lights and stuff to them. I know wings are more sensitive, but I mean, like glow stick down the sides, that'd be funky.
Mm.
I don't know.
Heck yeah. Can completely ruin the aerodynamics of the leading edge of the wing, but it looks really cool, and to be honest, looking cool is kind of Pegasi's thing, so it's fun.
Yeah, I mean they already fly on magic. I
Yeah.
don't think aerodynamics is a thing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fair. If you want to be really cool, you can work out the aerodynamics and the fluid modeling to work out the best position of these things. If you want to be really in lore, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can mess with it. You can just chuck stuff on there. Like this art is like awesome. I love it.
Really fun and
Funkadelic.
colorful.
Mm. We didn't we do one of this person's thing last week, and we were also like, oh my god.
Yes,
I believe so.
and they also
Okay.
critique other artists, so they're just like a notch up. They're winning
Oh my god.
points.
Heck yeah. I'm loving it.
All right. Well, anyone else have any other questions? Any other art they'd like to submit? Any other plushies they would like to anonymously donate to a plushie pile?
Something that could be really interesting is having a little tiny bit darker on the underside of the wing. I like that. Or that. Just something that differentiates it.
I was just grabbing the colors from the
Yeah, fair enough. Actually,
traffic
yeah.
light and throwing them on the wing, on the underside of the wing.
Heck yeah, I like it. Cool. Just something to make them pop a little bit more. What a raver!
Yeah.
What a raver! Because I think in Pony Lore, Luna skipped this section of the pony history. She went like straight from medieval to like modern day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
But maybe
possible.
this is like her like an 80s themed dance night. You know?
Everyone made a whole 80s theme Nightmare Night for Luna. She felt left out.
I love it. Brilliant.
Well, with that, I think we're going to be calling it a day. So
Woohoo!
thank y'all for showing up, and we'll see you again next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good arts.